Hello guys, we have a position here. Stockfish says that it's better to capture the bishop rather than eliminate the checking piece, but of course this is not a regular puzzle. This is the following chapter we saw of the Arabian Knights. Let's see in the original format. Yes, chapter 23. Something about the knights again. It's called Arabian Knights, after all it's not Arabian rooks. So we have the vizier and the caliph who go on with their philosophical debate, but this time it's well, yes, because they're a story about laziness or of the knights, and this time we have we had a knight we don't know its color. We have here two knights that have changed color. That's the plot, and like this, it's all it's a small problem after all, and well, actually all we need is to find what is white last move and black last move, and we'll have the answer. And as the vizier said, the solution is one of the most beautiful I ever seen. He's right, and that's why I show this problem. So if we see this position, obviously the black king is in check. So how this check happen with a bishop as far away? He cannot have captured a piece or get from here to check. So this must be some kind of discovery. Okay, and contrary to previous puzzle, we have some counting here, and it's very important in most of the puzzles. So it's time to see this little technique. And what are we counting? We are counting the minimum of capture to reach to this position of pawns, this structure. Minimum because it's the capture we are sure that happened, and there can always be more. But those one we are not sure, and we want to compare it to the number of pieces remaining, so we will know like this what is the maximum of other captures, remaining captures. So we want that as many as possible for hypothesis. I put only the important pawns there, and it's something we do for the legality of a position in a regular puzzle. So it's not only for retro chess, it's a way of having a position of chess that is illegal for a start. Okay, and it's a minimum because, for example, like when we have a straight pawn like this, we first assume it has just no capture, but of course it could have come from here one, or even if it's an A pawn that is there. There's always zigzag, so maybe +2, +4. And when we have two pawns like this straight, we assume that each of them did no capture, but of course there could have been some interlaps, so +2. But there is nothing as a parity because with a group of 3 pawns they can be, with a strange structure like this maybe, there can be added 1 or 3 or whatever. But this minimum is like a mathematical constant, and we can reach a position by many ways, but if we look for the minimum captures, it will always be the same number, and that's what we're looking for. I have to precise, for example, in the classic rook pawns doing the caterpillar or the Congo, as English people say, with a pawn like this and the king in the corner to block it, and we know that one rook pawn or maybe 5 there, it will not be possible to win. Even like this, it's not stalemate yet. Is this position legal? Can we have this? Yes, we have 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. So this is the minimum, and it's constant. So we have here 10. If we add an ultimate one, that's 15. and that's with the 16th piece being the king. It is legal to have a position like this, but if we add on the opposite side of the board, but will not, just something like this, yeah, this is not legal, just this, because this extra white pawn shouldn't be there, since it needed to be captured by the black pawn, so ask them to reach this position. If you put a pawn there, it's not reachable. So in this way, it's not legal, and that's what we're counting. Okay, so when we're used to the process, we just find the correct way for the pawns to get to that structure, and we count the changes of column, and that's it. We don't have to know for sure if it's those pawns who did it like that or what. But we must be careful not to go too fast. For example, if we say, okay, this one went straight like this, and from here this one went there, and then this one and this one we don't count. It's not correct, since the B pawn is maybe here, we don't know, but this one cannot be a B pawn. So if we count too fast, we arrive at 3, 1 and 2, 3, with the G pawn, actually, the G pawn who hasn't moved, but the G pawn, if it hasn't moved, this one comes like this, 2, and this one is a E pawn who did 1, 2, 3. Wow. And then maybe this one went straight. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, a total of 5. Of course, it's not like this. It could have been this one who came from here, this 1 and 2. Maybe this, well, let's get fancy. This one went like this. This one went like this, so 2, and this one went there and there. So that's 5. It's what I was saying, it's the same result. But those 4 pawns have gone here. So this one must come from here at minimum. So there is a 6 capture for this one. So we arrive at 6. We know that there is a 16 piece for black at the beginning, and the black king cannot be captured, and it's there. So we just have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there is 10 pieces remaining, so that means the 6 pawn captures to get to this position is exactly all the capture that white has done. And in some puzzle, it's a story of chronology, or maybe for this pawn to get there, it's only white capture. So like this, it's only white. So there is a story of the black bishop here that cannot be captured. Sometimes it's how does this pawn who is missing get captured by this pawn. So it's a story of promotion, and then later on be captured as a piece. We don't have all this craziness here. It's just to restrict the possible move and the possible craziness. And in many puzzles, this craziness is actually the solution we're looking for. But it's very important. And there will be 4 use of this count. And so the result is that the 6 pawns missing, the 6 pieces and pawns missing for black have been captured by those pawns, those 4 pawns, and it's exactly all the captures that happened. So there were no other captures on the board at any point. So we have to keep this as restriction for the possible moves. Okay, so the first use of this this knowledge that we have, that no more capture have been done by white, the capture by black are less important, is that the last move to get to give check is not this pawn capturing something. We have seen that this pawn comes from D, so it has one capture and then one straight at any point. But if it has captured this, then it still come from D, so it must have done 1, 2 captures, and then the last move a third capture, and that's 2 extra captures that we cannot that cannot be compatible with the position. So the pawn and the pawn didn't capture, and the bishop get a discovery check like this. This cannot be the last the move, the last move, how white delivered the check. It's funny, like, because in many puzzles with a pawn like this, it's meaning that there was a pawn there, and this pawn was there or there, probably there because it's too many here, and there we have to know how this happened. But then there is the possibility of black interposing the pawn, and then en passant, and it's like this. Okay, so it's not the case here. It's also if there is any rook in the position, but if there was a rook in any of this rectangle here, except maybe there and there, then if for example this, it would mean, or maybe this, it would mean that the move could have been a discovered check like this or like this. We have no queen, so any queen there, and then maybe there would be this. No, because the queen would be also giving check. It's not possible. It's impossible double check, except for discovery from here and here. So the knights that are up there cannot give a discovery either. So it means the last move was either bishop like this, discover check, and we know also that maybe this black knight is actually the white knight, and maybe white is this with a change of color. So that's the original plot of the puzzle, of which knights didn't change color, and the caliph must want to punish them. Okay, back to the full picture. So the last move was either this knight or this knight. We don't know if this black knight is not a white knight in disguise, and the white delivered a check. But what was a black previous move? And this is more a little bit more complicated, and there are more possibilities to this card. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there's okay, I'm not, okay, we'll let this engine, we don't need the engine. This bishop over there, if it's there for long, the white king has no square where it could come from, previous to the check. So this was the check maybe, or the other knight, and before that, did white do this? No, it's in check, but it's in check with a pawn who cannot have been pushed or came from a capture, so this is not possible. The king could not have come from there because it would have been already in check by the bishop. So this and the bishop there. It cannot be a promoted bishop. This is a bit crazy, and it's the second use of the capture. It could have been something like this, maybe, with a white pawn. Okay, so maybe it was like this. the bishop is not there, so the king comes from here, and hop, promotion and check, then he goes there, and then there is the check. But actually, and that's the second use of the pawn, to get a promoted piece here, it cannot also come from there. It's a capture that we didn't count in the 6 maximum possible, but okay. But this would mean that this would be a C pawn to go up to there or there, and then maybe or not do a capture more. So this possibility of a promoted bishop up there is completely unrealistic due to the 6 or 7 extra capture that it would need. So this bishop is there since a long time, and the white king has nowhere to come from, even if this bishop if this bishop was just promoted, maybe it was possible to come from there, but no. So the king did not move, so it's there for some times, and it didn't do the last black move. Since the black king is here, the bishop here is also blocked for a long time, and it cannot do some move to get there. Okay, now we will. This is a bit technical, but could this capture be the last move? And obviously we say no, because the bishop had gone out, went there, got there before the king went there, then parked here, and later on the king came here. But there's a possibility. We have to imagine that the here there's a knight, a bishop, and the bishop is not the one there because this bishop is promoted. So imagine the pawn is here, and this pawn goes there, transform as a white bishop, so must have been done a capture, and then come up and did its way there. Why is it impossible? Because this bishop is not here, so it must have been captured. And though the pawns, those 4 pawns did all the captures, well, not this one, those 4 pawns did all the capture, and it cannot be possible for them to capture here on the original square of the bishop. So this is the third use of the count. This bishop, this one, cannot be promoted from a C pawn because this bishop was eaten by those pawns. So this cannot be the last move. It would imply that the bishop here was captured, and this one is a promoted one. And the problem is that this bishop never went out from its original square, and it cannot be captured, for example, for a knight or a rook, because the pawns did all the captures, and those pawns cannot capture this bishop if it doesn't go out. So this cannot be the last black move. And g7 takes h6 cannot be also neither the last black move. There are many reasons. We know that the h8 bishop is not promoted, and there is no way for him to read the square if the way was not cleared prior, so the last move cannot be g takes h. But okay, there is a way that the pawn comes there, promote, and the king then promote straight, and then the king later go on h7, and the g7 pawn is still there. So that's a way. We know it's not possible with the pawn reaching this, but it's a way. But there's a direct reason that this cannot be the last move, because of the bishop there that would have been locked in. If this is supposedly the last move, then this bishop never went out, and this time we really need this bishop to go out and get captured, for example here, by like this one. And so we have this bishop who must get out, and so this cannot lock him in, since this pawn is also blocking the way. And actually we're not sure if this B pawn went there and get captured. Maybe this is the A pawn that went one move like this. But in any case, this cannot be G7 takes H6, and it would block in this one, it would block in this one. So this cannot be the last move for black. Okay, so what else is there available for black? So these pawns, this one is there. These pawns didn't move from their original square, so they didn't do the moves. So it leaves us with the knights. Arabian Knights, right? And maybe it's even this one who is a black knight in disguise. Okay, so it's after all quite there's a funny position, and it means that the previous square from the knights are not really there for a possible black move. So this knight, for example, it cannot come from there. So let's say, right, cannot come from there or there. And here, if this is the last move, when it was there, it was delivering a check to the white king. So it must be two moves before this, and the white king must react, and then maybe this. But so this is not a possible place for either of the knight if this one is a black knight in disguise. Okay, if this one is in a black knight, it cannot come from there either. It's not available square, and this one is, and this one, those two in blue, if this one was black and he did move like that, this would be a check. So this knight and this knight cannot be the last piece to have moved. So okay, so it's like that. Okay, we had one of those two who is white and who just give a discovered check from there. But let's say white did that. And prior to this, why is this bishop, why this knight not doing some move? So this is taken, the square is taken. This square is taken by the white knight, who will move there or there, we don't know yet. This place is taken by the bishop. So the only available square is there, but there it will give check. So this is not possible that the two last moves were this and this, because this knight would give a check. Actually, this yes, this knight cannot be black. This knight is actually white, and it's come from there, and he cannot move like this. He cannot come from there, so this cannot be the last black move. There's also a check. And from there, he cannot come from there or there. This is the place where the white bishop is. So how is it possible? There's a possibility that the solution in the book doesn't really talk about, is that the black made a move by a piece that has been taken. So maybe it's like this. Maybe black did a bishop move like this, and the white captured and give check. Why is not that a possibility? It couldn't be any piece, but that lands there legally. The problem is that there is no capture available for this knight. We have all the pieces already eaten by those 4 pawns. So the move from the knight cannot come with a capture. And this is the crazy part. I can let you enjoy it, but I was looking for a way for the king to get there, and maybe the knight has to be black or something like this to get in the way, but the solution is that this knight is promoted. The black knight here cannot come from a pawn becoming a knight, because this is the ace rank, this is the side of the black, but this side can be a promotion, so it means there was a pawn here and a piece. Black has not done many captures that we know of with the pawn, only one, and there's a lot of possibility of capture, so we didn't study this because there's no limitation. And white maybe had a rook. And the last move of black was to promote to a knight, like this, and that's the solution, meaning this knight is black, and then this knight is white, giving the check, the discovery. And if we look, it was black and white like this first, so this means that those, no, not this one are right. It's just those two knights are the one who change color, even if this one is just freshly promoted, and that is the solution. And we just look at one move each, and there was no very crazy promotion, but from many moves ago, or en passant, or it was just the only possible move legally, just to make it legal in one move for each. And that's it. And as an ultimate validation of the legality of the black moves and position, white has 12 pieces on board, so there is 4 captures available. One has been done there. We're not sure if this one was a capture or a straight move, so we just keep this one. And there was some concern about the c pawn, so there was multiple possibilities, even for him to reach here with the 3 more captures available, and it could not have easily helped one of those 4 pawns to get to there, but it could have helped, let's say like this one, the c pawn, capturing on its way and there. So this would have been a way. Maybe there's some crazy move, but there, I don't know. But we know that actually the c pawn went there, did 2 capture, promote as a knight. That's 2. 1 extra here, 3. And there is nothing, no problem at all in the legality of the black moves.